Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you back to the Dynamic Decisions podcast, where we explore the strategies that drive successful decision making in the world of business. Why? Because the best decisions come from great conversations. I'm your host, Tisha Cable, CEO of C Model Data, and today I am thrilled to be joined by someone that I've had the privilege of working alongside on some of the most meaningful economic development work happening in Birmingham right now. So please welcome Dorothy. Some of us get to call her Dot, who is the Small Business Relationship Coordinator for the City of Birmingham for the Department of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. So Dot and I recently partnered on the 2026 State of Small Business Report for the City of Birmingham. And she gave me the opportunity to work with her on the Economic Mobility by Design Summit, which was also earlier this month. So I've really gotten to see firsthand how she operates. And I can tell you that when it comes to connecting these small business owners with the resources that they need to grow and survive, Dot, she's a real one. So welcome, Dorothy, to the show. I'm so excited to have you here. Would you just kind of tell the audience more about you, more about the work that you're doing every day, and then we'll just sort of jump in after that.
Ooh, I don't even know if I can follow up behind you, Tisha, about myself. Thank you for such a great introduction. I'm Dot George. You guys can call me Dot. I have the honor to serve the city of Birmingham and specifically the economic development arm of entrepreneurship. And so there, of course, are three arms to this game: BRE, business retention and expansion, and then workforce, and then entrepreneurship. And so all of them have to work together. But my mindset comes from my urban planning background. I was a senior consultant with Strata Professional Services and got to go home, work on some interesting municipal planning projects and some transportation planning projects. And so I brought that heart over here with me to serve entrepreneurs. And so my mindset is that community development is true economic development. And when I'm talking about community, I'm not just talking about housing or houses. I am talking about the holistic person. And so that is where I get my mindset and set my frame from anything that I do, whether it's community outreach, whether it's small business outreach, whatever. It always starts with a person in mind, with the people and a community in mind, and it moves from there. So I've been with the city for oh it'll be 4 years in September, and it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. One of the most fulfilling jobs that I've ever had, and I would dare say that is more so a calling. And it's my purpose. And so when you get closer to your purpose, your work starts to mean a little bit more than just
Come
a
on.
paycheck or a career move. I actually feel like I'm doing the work of God. I'm being God's hand on this planet, which my grandparents who adopted me, that I truly feel they weren't perfect people, but they were some very good people. And they loved their community. They loved their family. And I still feel like in spirit, they still love us as well. So that's a little bit about me. Was that enough, Tisha?
That was fantastic. I love it. And I love the anchoring on purpose, because so much of what I do with businesses too, when I'm talking to them, is telling them that you got to be in business for
Yeah.
something other than making money, because there are easier ways to make money than
Yes.
entrepreneurship. So let's dig in. So you've worked on both sides of the municipal business relationship, right? From running a marketing firm, right, as a consultant, designing city scale initiatives, and
Mhm.
now as a, city coordinator, really supporting these small businesses. It's really a rare multi-perspective position. So can you walk me through a specific moment where your experience made you realize that cities aren't making it easy for entrepreneurs to access resources? What kind of friction were you experiencing or that you saw that really shaped your commitment to accessibility?
Well, I had to, when I came into this role, it was a new role that was created. So Me just coming off of doing the vision framework document for the city of Bessemer, doing transportation planning projects, which oftentimes require a lot of community engagement and outreach. And it so happened that I had to do community engagement and outreach in a very peculiar time, which was COVID. So how do you
Mm-hmm.
do outreach during COVID? And so I worked on a project. We did the transportation development plan for the city of Dothan, and our firm was a subcontractor on it, and our role was to do the outreach for that particular project. And it was with same associates. And
Mm-hmm.
so we were able to do an outreach program completely digital, which was something fairly
Mm,
new to them because their outreach is, legally you have to look at the sunshine laws and all that. And so I'm not going to go into the nuances of all that, but what I will say is that prepped me going into this role, knowing that hey, I need to ask the community what they want. We can make a million initiatives all day for them, or if people don't feel like, and our office is an office of two people, and the municipality is not really our job to do a lot of things. A lot of folks think that the city is a bank, that we are supposed to provide access to capital, that we, we are supposed to do their business plans for them, so on and so forth. And yes, we do want to make small businesses the most successful that they can be. 99% of business activity across the United States is coming from small businesses, which are by the SBA defined as 500 employees or less. And so we have a lot of micro businesses. And I will safely say that a lot of the coffers for the city of Birmingham, a lot of the money that we get from the small businesses supports our budget overall. So we need to have, we have to have successful small businesses. Period. We have to be careful with what we do. The city has to focus on policy, right? Making sure that it's easier to get a business license, making sure that ordinances align with what businesses need. I think it's a thing of educating small business owners of what should I expect from my city as far as services as as a small business. And so when I came
mm-hmm.
into the role, I saw maybe 800 to 1,000 small businesses within a year.
Mm,
And that's a lot. And that was, they would call me boots on the ground. And I would come into the office, or I might not come into the office. I might go into a neighborhood and start my day.
mm,
Being able to hear firsthand, to record firsthand their issues and their problems. I was able to bring that back to our office. And then, having a strong ecosystem. We don't like to talk about that. You got to play well together as a city. If we want to be competitive with Nashville, competitive with Atlanta, even Memphis or
mm-hmm.
Charlotte, you want to be competitive with cities like that, you have to find a way to work together. And
For
you have
sure.
to be efficient with how you work together. And so, Kendra
Yeah.
Key was one of our partners with doing, and she was setting up the EC and she was getting data. And that's how we met during that process of trying to get pull the ecosystem together to one, do an inventory on what do we have, who do we have servicing our businesses,
Yeah.
how do we quit duplicating services, or how we get the best person for the right need of the entrepreneur. So yeah, so I came into the office with a mindset to do outreach and to get qualitative data
Yeah. So good.
initially.
So good. So on that note, you talked about how in Birmingham and just like in a lot of the country, so many of our businesses are small and micro. You also talked about the fact that that's not really a niche. That's just the economic reality in this area, so that when you design these programs for this particular ecosystem, I'm really just recapping this for our audience. You have
Thank
to
you.
think differently, right? You have to really think differently about how the city designs what they're doing, because it's not only about attracting major corporate headquarters. You also have to think about these small businesses, especially the ones that are small and under resourced. They're constrained, or
Mhm.
they're resource constrained. So thank you for that. So here's another thing. You led the Atomic Project for Alabama DOT, right? This $1.2 million software initiative, managing
Yes.
software engineers, UI
Yeah.
and UX designers, and transit directors. Then you spent 12 years running a small marketing firm,
Yes, I
serving
did.
local businesses and trying to do that affordably. Can you give me an example of how you've applied user-centered design thinking from your tech projects to making municipal resources more accessible for small business owners? Like, what does that translation look?
You really got me. You challenged me on that, how to connect my software project. That was an interesting project doing project management. You go from the old fashioned waterfall phase one, phase two, phase three to switching over to agile project management. And so, if I could say anything, I feel like my experience is leading a software development project taught me how to be more flexible, how to believe in the power of iteration. And so, you might not get it right the first time. And you might see some things that work right on this iteration. And then next iteration, it be getting better and better. If I could relate the Atomic Project to a project that I worked on most recently, and then I'm still working on, it's our Coffee and Convo series. That series, I wanted to give up on the first year. I'm a visionary person. First of all, I'm the wrong person to put into anything detailed. I'm detailed by force, not by nature. And I'll say this: I have a MBA and a master's, and then I want to have a lot of professional certificates, and I believe in going to professional development programs and things like that. It's hard for people to catch your vision, and then the when you go into the psychology of things, the will of the people trusting what you're doing. Coffee and Convo was born because people don't like to come to City Hall. Folks don't trust government. And so, with that being said, I was like, oh, let's take the government to the people. Let's go out. And it started out really grassroots. It wasn't as programmatic as it is today. It started off as I introduced myself. Let me bring a couple of folks from off of my team. There wasn't even other departments coming out, right? It was just IEO.
Mhm.
It was just OBDO coming out. And sometimes you will have one or two business owners, and sometimes it's just the host business and myself. And so, we didn't have a lot of traction the first year. The second year, we started to build momentum. And then this third year that we're in now, our largest attendance was, I think, 126 in January. And one of my proudest, and then, no, we had I just did a report. We did 100 and
That's wonderful.
folks attended the state of small business, which you presented the data report. And so I think we had like 236 people registered. And of course, attendance attrition and all that.
About 50%.
to
That's
to
right.
and
Yeah.
so it pretty much landed where it was going to land. But I say
Yeah.
all that, another coffee hole that I was really proud of was our bridging tech and Main Street. I was proud of my consultant that we hired. And I told her, I said, I want to diversify Coffee and Convo. I want to do it at different times of day. I want to get different races. I want to get different types of business owners. I wanted it to be, I wanted to be representative of who Birmingham is. And
Yeah.
so this particular Coffee and Convo focused on Main Street and tech, and we did it at Innovation Depot. And we had 44 total folks to attend, and it was half and half. Half tech people,
Yes.
half Main Street businesses.
I love it.
The populate. If you go look at the pictures on our IG, Business Diversity and Opportunity, City of Birmingham Office of Business Diversity and Opportunity on Facebook and LinkedIn, if you go look at those pictures, it was a very diverse crowd
I
as
love it.
well. And so I would say my background leaning into being more agile, leaning into the principle and the concept of iteration, that's what I saw in
I love
action.
it.
And our director, Coriante Hauser, he is a strong believer in the power of iteration. He has a
I love
software
it.
background as well. And I'm not pure software. It was just so happened that our professional services uh,
Yeah,
firm landed a project and I was the woman left standing to do it. So,
that's
but did I
awesome.
answer your question?
You did. It was perfect. That's
Okay.
exactly what I was looking for. So you oversee the convergence and strategic partnering between the city ecosystem partners and small businesses. So that means you got to coordinate between people like the BBA and
Right,
ECBHAM and right those groups, those local development centers. And there's so many more, and I'm not naming them all, not on purpose, right? There are lots of them.
right.
And also city departments and corporate partners. So that's inherently like really complex and it's often siloed. So what's the hardest part of getting different organizations to really align around supporting local small businesses, and what's the leverage point that makes coordination actually happen?
I would say pushing people to moving people to get outside of their ego and finding a common thread. And to me, the common thread is our small businesses at the end of the day. If we don't have prosperous small businesses, we don't have money to service our folks. Because when you think about it, we don't get a lot of money off of property taxes. So where the business taxes is extremely important for us. And the reason I'm saying that is that that proves that we have um, a shared agenda already. Corporations need small businesses as well, right? So think
Mm-hmm.
about that manufacturing company that comes into a community. They need housing. They need good schools. They need lunch, dinner, meals. Folks need to go get their items that they need. They might need an ink pen. They might need band-aids. There is a need. So there's a circular flow of money coming around and coming in. For regionalism, when I think about the MSA area, when I think about Bessemer, when I think about Vestavia, when I think about Moundbrook, when I think about Hoover, Lipscomb, Midfield, when I think about all these municipalities that go under Jefferson County, as goes Birmingham, will go this entire region, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when
Mm-hmm.
you look at it, the same axis, the same highway that serves Birmingham serves Bessemer as well. Bessemer is very important because Bessemer has a lot of site ready places for
Infrastructure.
businesses, infrastructure
Sure.
for folks
That's right.
folks to go. With Birmingham, we have a lot of business parks, corporate industrial parks, and different things like
Mm-hmm.
that. But just
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, a lot of those are already filled. So we have to
Right.
learn how to work together as a region.
Yeah.
That that's the importance of a BBA, right? A BBA
Mm-hmm.
to a city of Birmingham and to
Right.
Lipscomb or whatever. If
Mm-hmm.
we don't have it, one of our neighboring communities should have it. But I think one of the most difficult things of pulling people together again is putting the ego out that it's my organization that leads da 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 da. Da. And I do this and I do this. That's not the fun part of it, but that's the reality of it. It's also that nonprofits, especially, they fight for resources, right?
That's
They're
right.
fighting for the grant. They're fighting to prove that they are the most needed.
Yeah.
So it's hard for people to find something shared to coalesce around to say, let's work together on it. But there's
That's
power in
right.
numbers. And so when you look at rural
Mm-hmm.
communities, they have to to lean on each other because they might have a population of 5,000 here, a population of 250 here, a population
Right.
3,000 here. So they can't have that type of infighting. And so in order to qualify for the grant, those areas would generally move together
Together.
to
Right.
qualify for the grant. And I would challenge my city. I would challenge the organizations in this city. I would even challenge the corporations because when you see Charlotte, when you see hot Atlanta, when you see Miami, when you see all of these places, all these folks know how to work together. There's room for competition, competitive advantage, those are staples of business, right? I'm not trying to take
That's right.
Tisha's competitive advantage away from her by asking her to work with another software development firm or another data intelligence firm, right? But there's
Right.
power in numbers there because you should have a different
Yeah.
competitive advantage.
Key word should. Yep.
Should have, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that's the biggest challenge of getting folks
So
to
good.
work together.
Yeah, I think that you led with something that I think is really, really important, which is that vision is required for that. So all of these different areas have to come together with a shared vision, which means that in order for you need a shared purpose. Like what is actually going to happen and what does the world look like when you do this work together? I think that was wonderful. So I want to do my favorite thing now, which is to explore your decision-making style through a persona assessment. Okay. So I'm going to
Okay.
ask you 4 questions and they represent different decision-making approaches. And after each one, I want you to tell me how much asking the question that I'm asking resonates with how you actually approach your decisions. And you'll have a scale of 0 to 100% for each one, but you only get 100% for all 4. Okay.
Okay.
And I ask them one at a time. So no, I'm not going to give them all to you up front. Okay. So we have to keep
Good.
track of your 100%. All right. So here's your first one. This persona, it's called the feeler. Okay. It's a values driven leader. The persona prioritizes alignment with core values and mission, often weighing the human impact and cultural fit of decisions alongside business metrics. So when I'm making decisions about which programs to prioritize or which partnerships to develop, I ask myself, beyond the numbers and the metrics, does this actually serve the people and the communities that face the most barriers? If a program would be efficient and measurable, but would exclude at least, the least resourced entrepreneurs, how much weight do I give to equity and accessibility alongside operational efficiency? Given my commitment to empowerment and education, how do I ensure that my work genuinely expands opportunity rather than just managing existing disparities? Okay, so Dot, how much does approaching decisions by asking values-based questions resonate with you?
I would say, 40 to 50% for me.
Pick one. Pick one. 40 or 50?
Let's go with 40.
40%. Okay. You want to add anything to that?
You I really would say 50, honestly, but I need to
Okay,
hear
let's
the
go
other
50.
decision making styles or
Okay.
decision making approaches as well. Because
First.
after I hear
Okay.
them, I might readjust my percentage. But right now, I would go and say 50% because I am people centered, people oriented, and people focused. But there are things that you cannot ignore when making decisions for people.
Yeah.
So some other things gonna have to come into play. So go for the
Okay.
next one. So we gonna say
All
50
right.
for right now.
Okay, here's the next one. It's the planner. It's the strategic visionary. So this persona focuses on long-term implications and future-proofing decisions, always thinking several moves ahead and considering multiple scenarios. So when I'm making strategic decisions about ecosystem partnerships, digital modernization, or long-term economic development positioning for Birmingham, I ask myself, what are the second and third order effects across multiple future scenarios? If I invest in tech infrastructure but don't build community trust and digital literacy, Does the infrastructure just widen gaps between tech savvy and tech excluded businesses? If I modernize city systems digitally but don't maintain analog accessibility, am I serving everyone or just those with tech access? Am I building capabilities that create compounding advantages for Birmingham's small business community? Or am I solving point problems that don't fundamentally strengthen local ownership? Okay, how much does that forward thinking scenario planning approach kind of resonate with how you make decisions?
So we would be 50-50. I'm thinking that I like to think that I am a well-rounded person. And
Uh-huh.
I do like to be forward thinking, and understand the domino effects of what I'm choosing to do. Because if you choose one, that is fundamentally the basis. The first one of the first concepts they teach you in economics is about opportunity cost. So if I make one decision, I can't do the other. So if if you have to make a choice at the end of the day, and your choice is going to cost you something. That is the basic principle of opportunity cost. Uh, let's go on to the next one. Let's go on to the next one.
Well, you didn't give me a percentage.
Let's go 25 and
Okay.
25%. 25%.
Okay. 25% planner. So right now you are 40% feeler and
Uh-huh.
25% planner. So that puts you at 65% so far taken up. Okay. We got two
Okay.
more. Here's the next one. It's called the counter. It's the challenger of assumptions. So this persona naturally questions conventional wisdom and looks for contrarian opportunities, often finding success by zigging when others zag. So when I look at how most cities approach economic development, I ask myself, what if the conventional playbook is actually suboptimal for communities where 99% of businesses are small? Most cities focus on attracting large corporations, competing on tax incentives, and treating small businesses as incidental to real growth. But I'm small and micro businesses as the actual economic engine of Birmingham. The reason so many cities struggle with equitable growth is because they're chasing large corporate deals while ignoring the small businesses ecosystem that actually employs most people. What if Birmingham's competitive advantage comes precisely from building a thriving small business community rather than competing only for Fortune 500 headquarters? Okay, Doc, how much does that assumption, challenging, contrarian style resonate with your decision making process?
I'm gonna give you 20%.
Okay, okay.
So that'll leave me with 15 for whatever you got left. Will I be
All
able to
right.
readjust this at the end?
You can,
Okay.
but I don't say that up front because then it takes all the fun out of it. You know what I mean? Because
Okay.
it's kind of fun watching people sweat. Okay, let's do the last one. It's called the data driver. It's an evidence based decision maker. So this persona relies heavily on metrics, analytics, and concrete evidence to validate decisions, preferring proof over intuition. So when I'm making major decisions about which programs to develop or how to structure partnerships, I ask myself, what does this evidence actually tell me before I commit? What metrics inform my decisions about which small business populations face the most barriers or which support initiatives actually drive business success? But at the same time, some of the most important outcomes resist clean measurement. How do I quantify whether a small business owner feels supported and trusted by the city, or whether they feel bureaucratic friction? How do I balance making decisions grounded in data while recognizing that whether a small business owner feels genuinely empowered can't be easily measured, but ultimately determines whether my work matters? All right, Dot, how much of that data driven, evidence focused approach resonates with how you might make strategic decisions?
Teacher, I'm gonna be honest. Just put me 25, 25, 25, 25, because I honestly, I'm a holistic thinker. I came up with the economic mobility by design summit. And so inherently, I reshaped our programming to add a data and strategy session. So of course I must think that that's important. Considering the human is important. Taking assumptive measures is important, and I also, think that the data is important. So I'm 25, 25, 25. I'm 25 or false because you need to all of
That's
those
good.
things are important. And you should have a
They are.
balanced approach in your decision making because data is numbers, it's evidence, right? But
Yeah. You
if I
you
got a
took away my
community,
whole point at the end. Yeah. Go ahead. No, keep going.
no,
Yeah.
if data is important, but the person that you serve is more important than the data. But you need the data to make a decision for the person that you're serving. All those things go hand in hand. When people make long term or make a comprehensive plan, that's a plan for 20 years, right? But
Mhm.
you should check into that every 3 to 5 years to do a temperature check and be flexible to make adjustments because let's just be honest, in 2 or 3 years, a whole industry could disappear. Look at what has
That's
happened to
right.
Birmingham with Birmingham not being prepared for the iron industry to go away.
Mm.
And so,
Mhm.
how long did it take for the medical industry to surge or to
Mm.
appear here? Then
Mhm.
you're looking at whatever the state has set aside the laws. There are some things that make it beneficial to come do business
Absolutely.
in Alabama, which is really the tax structure is attractive why people would want to headquarter here. Now, I would debate on quality of life. When I'm looking at quality of wage, quality of health, again, going back to the holistic aspect of a person. Having a healthy person should be measured and as important because healthy people go to work on time every day. People that's almost dead from diabetes, high blood pressure, or whatever, because you don't have fresh food or access to fresh food in your community. And I'm making a play for economic mobility and measuring what is it, what does that look like, and to go back to your main question, you can't have one without the other.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your insights. Thank you for being my friend. All of this is awesome. We'd love to tell everybody where they can learn more about you, where they can learn more about the city of Birmingham. They can learn more about the state of small business, all those good things. Why don't you share that with our audience?
So if you follow us on Facebook at Department of Innovation and Economic Opportunity, that's economic development overall. That's the City of Birmingham Department of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. And if you are small business focused, our office that serves small business is the Office of Business Diversity and Opportunity. So you can follow us on Facebook and on LinkedIn. We only have the Office of Business Diversity and Opportunity on both LinkedIn and Facebook. And then you can follow both of us on Instagram as well to see all the cool and fun things that we have going on. Follow us on IG at OBDO and then IEO and IG, where we are very cool there. If you're a small business owner, you can reach me at Dorothy, my government name, DOROTHY George, GEORGE, at Birmingham, spelled all the way out, BIRMINGHAM.gov. You can email me at Dorothy.George at BirminghamAL.gov. If you have any questions, if you're interested in moving here, you can find our data report at magiccityinsights.com. You can download that report. If you're not doing business in the city of Birmingham, we would love to have you. Birmingham is open for business. Tisha mentioned Birmingham Business Alliance. That's where our chamber lies. We encourage our small business owners to join the chamber, which is through Birmingham Business Alliance. They would love to have you. They have fantastic programming, monthly programming, networking opportunities, all the things. The Innovation Depot is a cool place for our tech
Whoop, whoop,
space. We have Polaris in Woodland. We
whoop,
have
whoop.
Creed 63
Come
that's
on.
downtown as a co-working space. If you need a space, we have Forge that's in the Pizzitz. We have the Pizzitz Food Hall. If you're a food business and you're looking to uh, get a physical spot, if you're a food truck and you're ready to come inside, it's too hot, we 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 and Rev, check out Rev Birmingham. They really help put you in a place. I'm just throwing out these different
Yeah.
resources that are available. And we start this conversation out that the city, we have two people, myself and Monique Shorts is our senior program manager. There's two of us that work in that office. And we just want you to know we are supported by an ecosystem full of people. We have the Entrepreneurial Center for Excellence over in North Birmingham, and
That's
they're
right.
there to
Whoop, whoop.
support. So guys, it's a lot of resources out there. And Network Navigator, try Network Navigator. They have a listing of most of these organizations, if not all of the organizations. And that's Naila Jackson. She's willing to
Whoop,
help
whoop.
get you where you need to go. So that's all I
Let's
got.
go.
I don't know.
That's
That's all
awesome.
I got.
I think that's awesome. Thank you so, so, so much. And to our listeners, we want to thank you for tuning in. Remember, the best decisions come from great conversations. If you enjoyed this episode, we want you to subscribe it, rate it, share it with your network, and keep the conversation going on social media using Dynamic Decisions Podcast. And until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and keep leading with purpose.